as I said yesterday, a seed is planted of an oak tree. It's so small. One can't believe if somebody says this oak tree seed contains the whole oak tree. It's so small. Oak tree is a big tree. How can that be? But you plant it, sprout it, it grows, ultimately it becomes that big oak tree. The whole oak tree, which is so big, is hidden in such a small seed. We have seen an example outside ourselves. If that is so, then the whole of the universe is lying in that seed which is like inside us. That seed can sprout and become large. It can become so large that you can see the whole universe that's ever been created. Because you are allowing the seed to grow inside. The space inside is a created space. Because we have this body, we start by thinking space inside is only a few inches. But when we sit there, the space expands. Our experience of space expands. Our experience of time changes. And we are able to sit there. Some people who are really interested in meditation and they go into that inner space, they spend hours and hours and think only a few minutes have passed. On the other hand, if you haven't any attractive thing going on inside, then a few minutes looks like hours because we are still sitting in the body. Meditation does not mean that this body undergoes any physical change. It does not mean that the body has to stop breathing or it has to change its style of breathing or the heartbeat has to change its beating. Nothing. All vital forces are maintaining the body. And the body remains alive because you are inside. But so long as you are having experiences from inside of levels which are beyond, they are beyond this world, beyond this body, but not outside. It's difficult to explain how you can make things inside. Some Greek philosophers at one time tried to explain. The Greek mathematicians, they tried to explain that you cannot say how so much can be put into so little, but then they used mathematics. They said, let us see, supposing you take a number 5, say this is the length of this cup, say 5. Now keep on reducing the size. You can just come to 4, 3, 2, 1. At 1 the mind stops. But the mathematics goes on. It goes to -1, -2, -5. Where is -5? It's not outside. It's inside the zero. You can go to -1,000,000. It's inside the zero. -1,000,000,000,000, decillion, it's inside the zero. There's nothing outside. The moment it comes outside, it becomes plus. Mathematics is able to describe how zero can contain everything. That zero does not mean nothing. In Buddhist tradition, Buddha said that the real structure of this universe has been created from Shunya, from zero. And he said that the Shunya stage, which you can achieve through meditation, you will find that the creation took place from zero. And he said that nothing is not empty. Nothingness does not mean emptiness. Nothingness means everything is in it, but you can't see it. Nothing manifests as everything. And from nothing, everything can come. The Buddha himself explained that from nothing, from Shunya, all is created. And at some time, all is taken back into the nothing. From nothing it comes, goes back to nothing. The modern version of that is what the scientists say, that the black hole contains everything. And once it explodes into a big bang, it creates everything and keeps on creating, unlimited. Therefore, the mind cannot understand how there can be anything below zero. Mind cannot understand how there can be anything inside nothing. But an actual experience can show you. The actual experience outside also shows it. If a black hole with no space at all in it can absorb entire universes, can absorb light itself, can absorb space itself, it can absorb everything that's created. and still be intact with zero volume and zero with all the mass intact. All the mass, all the weight is intact, and yet nothing is visible. If science is showing that, spirituality is showing that, where can we examine this and find out if it is true? Well, we can examine it by going within into the area of nothing. And from nothingness, you will see everything came from there and went back into nothing. It's a personal experience that you can have. This is theoretical outside. It's a theoretical concept outside, but practical experience inside. Once you have that experience, it's impossible for you to explain to people. How did you find out everything inside nothing? Well, we did. The yogis in India who used to have this kind of practice, when they were asked, describe it, what was it like? And all they said, according to the literature, is neti, neti, not this, not this, not. They couldn't find anything to compare. All they could say, it was not this. They couldn't say what it is, because when we say what a thing is, we compare with something we already seen. And we have not seen that nothing can contain all this. Yet the area of Shunya or Shunya or zero exists inside us, and exists not too far. It's on the way to our home. There are two Shunya. There is a Shunya and there is a Mahashunya, which means nothing and grand nothing. Well, we can't understand nothing. How can we understand grand nothing? There is a grander nothing. What does it mean, a grand nothing and a nothing? Nothing contains all that's created here. And grand nothing contains even the creators of all this. Even they disappear. And yet something else opens up which is bigger than these. It's going into like negative numbers, and the numbers keep on increasing. It's a whole new world. There was a great scientist. He's considered the successor of Einstein. He's poor fellow paralyzed, and he knew he's going to be paralyzed. And he, in his early time, predicted that people will understand the nature of time through science. And there is a brief commentary that he has made, and it is recorded, and it's called The History of Time. In that little book, there's a book written, and there's also a documentary. In that he explains that time as we know it, and he's following Einstein's opinions on science, that time as we know it varies at every point in this universe. It's not the same. Every point the time is different. Also he said that if somebody were to take a flight at half the speed of light, and he takes a flight for 5 minutes and comes back to his family, he'll find that his son died at the age of 65. It's taken 5 minutes. And if he says you go faster than that, what will happen? What will happen to your watches when you go faster? He says, if you attain the speed of light, and supposing you are going to a black hole, being drawn there to attain the speed of light, and he said this might happen one day, you have a watch, if it is slowing down, at 12 o'clock, it will stop at 12 o'clock. And all time will be 12 o'clock. After that, it will start reversing. If you happen to go into a black hole, now these are the words of the scientist. If you go into the black hole, everything will be reversed, because time is being reversed. So maybe you'll be born old person and then die when you are a baby. I mean, he's given these examples. Then they say that something is happening in different dimensions. They are almost using similar language that the mystics used long ago, that there is more than one dimension. We are living in a very small slice of creation. They accept it, that we are living in a very small slice of creation, and that we can move from one dimension to another. How did they find this out? Because they improved their method of measuring radioactivity. They improved their method of finding out wavelengths of energy moving in the space, which went way ahead of their own visual inspection of what is happening in the space. They found out some very interesting things, that if you look in the sky at night and see a star, an actual star, that star is not there at that time. That star was there more than a year ago. because light from the star took 1 year. It's 1 light year away. The nearest star is more than 1 light year away. That means what you're looking at is 1-year-old star. We don't know what has happened today. It may be there or not. When you go further, it is even further in time. Therefore, when you go to the edge of space, which now telescopes are showing us, we are seeing what happened billions of years ago. From that, they are able to now see what happened close to the Big Bang, just by going further in space, because space and time has become one now. And they are following Einsteinian theory. There is no such thing as an object. There is no such thing that you say, this is sitting here. No, it's sitting here for a certain time. So it's an event. He said there is no object. It's all events. You have to tie up the time with it. If you look at a cup, when was it made, how it was manufactured, the whole thing is right here in this cup. So he was talking so closely to some spiritual experiences which people have had. People with some practice of meditation have looked at a cup and seen exactly where it was before it came here. They can go back all the way to the glass being made, all the way to where it was manufactured and come here. The whole history of the cup can be seen with eyes by meditation. So when you see, that's what they are saying in physics now. That's what they are saying in science. It's amazing that with so much evidence around, our mind still wants to look outside for all these things. All these things can be examined better from inside. The only reason I find people don't go inside is that they close their eyes, it's darkness. Outside they can see some light. That's the only reason. And to pull the mind in, to pull your attention in, looks so difficult because the mind tries to fight it and tries to take us outside. Otherwise, all the answers to all the questions that you ever raise can be found inside. All answers. You can have any number of questions, they'll all be answered if you're doing meditation, going within. As if the answers are waiting for you. You will find a very interesting thing if you meditate. You will find that the questions you are asking because the answer is there. If the answer is not there, you can't make up the question. How will you put a question? Then you put a question to somebody, then the answer is waiting inside. You want somebody else to speak out the answer. When the person speaks out the answer, you say, that is it. Supposing he doesn't speak out the right answer, you say, no, I don't accept it. Well, you asked a question, somebody is giving an answer, you only accept that which is already there in you. That means the answer was already there. But this doesn't come to our knowledge till we go inside. Through meditation, you find out all these details of how the consciousness is operating, how it's operating on the physical plane, how it's operating on the sensory plane, how the mind is working, what the mechanics of it is, how it was created, what the basis of all this is. We don't have to speculate on any of these things because they are all visible to us when we withdraw our attention and go inside. So that is why I gave these few examples from science to tell you people are talking of dimensions and things according to the understanding of the old theory that energy and mass or matter, energy and matter in their totality are one. Either energy becomes matter or matter becomes energy, but the total remains one. It doesn't happen anymore now. They have seen it doesn't, the equation is not fitting by their own radioactivity being measured by new instruments. So what they've come up with now is there is something which we can't see, but just to make the equation equal, there is dark matter and dark energy. We put the dark matter and dark energy, and then now the equation is good. Have you seen where the dark matter is? No, that's why we call it dark. If we had seen it, we would call it matter. We can't see it. It doesn't look like matter, but behaves like matter. It's science. Science is telling us. So therefore, now they're balanced according to that. The entire known visible universe that we are watching is less than 17% of what they've discovered by equations of radioactive measurements. Now you can imagine what kind of knowledge we are getting through science, that we are seeing very little. The other scientists are saying that things move from one dimension into another. They say, if an example given by a scientist on record says, if you go to a bar and order orange juice, and by mistake, the bartender gives you a glass of cranberry juice. He says, in another dimension, you have received orange juice. That there is no mistake in nature. He says, nature makes no mistakes. Therefore, a mistake happened because the correct thing happened in another dimension. This is not spirituality. This is not metaphysics. This is physics. These are physics people talking like this. And they say that we can move from one dimension to another. Sometimes we do all the time and we don't know when we move there. They are even examining today whether dreams are a real place somewhere. That when we dream, we are going into another dimension and seeing that world, and that not is just a fantasy in our own head. This concept came because people began to dream of things which they had never seen here, of which they had no equivalent here. In meditation, of course, people were seeing a lot of things of which there was no equivalent here at all. So, people say that the suggestive power of the mind, if you make an auto-suggestion to see something, it has to correspond to what you've already seen. Or the elements of it must be that which were combined in a new combination, but the elements must be those which you have seen. In dreams, people have seen things which have no combination at all, like this. In meditation, they have seen no combination at all. Therefore, they feel that those combinations are lying in another dimension. And you slip into another dimension when you are in a dream. You slip into another dimension when you are in a deep meditation. Their institute in Zurich, where they have studied the functioning of the brain and the mind, and they calculate the alpha waves and theta waves and so on, to see in different states of meditation how do the wave motions in the brain itself work. And they have found such a big change in the wave motion depending upon what your state of consciousness is. So they are linking that there are so many things which we have not understood so far. It's just touched the tip of the iceberg, and we are going to research more. This is unexpected in Newton's time that you could be researching these things. But Einsteinian physics made a big change, and today there is even more change coming up, where they found that Einstein was wrong in saying that nothing moves faster than light. He said nothing moves greater than the velocity of light. They have by observation found that when a black hole pulls everything, it whirls around in a cyclical way, and at that time the velocity of everything that's moving in is greater than velocity of light. So Einstein is dead. Poor fellow might be moving in his grave, that my whole big theory has gone wrong. But physics is proving, Einstein predicted there could be a place in the universe where everything travels faster than light. But that is an inverse universe, an opposite universe, not this. But look at what is happening. I am just illustrating how science is discovering things in front of our eyes, outside. Things that have been mentioned by mystics and by saints long ago. They mentioned these things in the scriptures. You can read them. There's great description of what is lying inside and what is a projection of that outside. When you go inside, you will find that what is being seen outside is a projection. That it is being projected, it's just like a cinema projector. That the film is inside. The light is the light of your own consciousness, the light of your soul. The mind carries the film of the DVD I mentioned, and through that light of consciousness, it comes out and falls on a multi-dimensional screen. Physics has accepted 11 dimensions, maybe there are more. Today they have said to explain all the radioactive activity, there has to be at least 11 dimensions. At one time they believed that the Big Bang created an expanding universe. Big theory. I used to go to college, used to teach us in physics. This is an expanding universe. I used to boast to people, we are all expanding, becoming bigger and bigger all the time. But since the room is also becoming bigger, we are all becoming bigger. Therefore, we don't notice the difference because all we are enlarging at the same time in an expanding universe. Where did I learn that? In the classroom, in physics, that this expanding universe, starting with the Big Bang, then came knowledge that light measure the distance, how far you are. In those days, the light from the sun took 8.5 minutes to reach the earth. Today also it's reaching 8.5 minutes. In what way are we expanding? How, once we say the light, velocity of light is totally fixed at 180,000 miles per second and has never changed and has strange features about it. The strange features being that relative to anything else, it's always the same velocity also. For example, if a car is moving at 40 miles an hour on a road, another one passes you at 60 miles an hour, you won't feel it is 60, you'll feel it's 20 because you're also moving at 40 miles an hour. And the car is moving a little faster, so you see only the difference. If it's moving at, you are going 40, it's going at 42, very slowly it will pass you. There will be difference. But when a light source passes another light source, the difference in their speed, no matter in what way they are going, is always the velocity of light. Nobody has been able to explain how that happened. This led to Einstein to believe that light was the only reality. Everything else was relative to that. He created the whole concept that everything was relative to that. Today, of course, it's gone because we saw that the light from the sun to the earth is still taking the same what it took 40 years ago, what it took a million years ago. It never changed. They came up with a new theory, a new physics theory, that there is a membrane that prevents expansion. And now the membrane theory is the latest theory. After string theory, the new is the membrane theory. There's a membrane that is covering small universes like our galaxy, a membrane that converts the solar system. They don't allow the expansion to take place. So we are tied up and outside is expanding, because when we look at the other galaxies and other suns, they are receding from each other. They are all receding. Now when we say, where are they receding from? There should be a central point from where they are receding. That's very interesting thing in science, that if everything is expanding, where is the center of this expansion? They found every spot they measure from is the center of that expansion. The new theory is that the center of expansion itself is expanding. That every point in the universe is the center of the universe. Does the mind understand? No. Even physics is now going beyond the mind. Spirituality was already beyond the mind. Now physics is going beyond the mind. I'm just bringing these little facts to your notice to show how our mind is so limited in being able to absorb this kind of knowledge. But the soul is not limited. Your consciousness is not limited at all and can absorb all this knowledge, not only absorb, experience it. But you cannot explain because you use the mind to explain. But the knowledge can be your own. So don't think that meditation is merely for getting some calmness and some better way of looking at the world or getting less angry or something. Those are good things. I call them fringe benefits, just the side benefits of meditation. The real thing is to get such knowledge that you cannot get anywhere else. Such knowledge of everything. Is not knowledge of one little thing or this, knowledge of everything. That's all lying inside us, and we can access that. So meditation, to go to the highest stage, is a slow process. I acknowledge that. People take several lifetimes to go to the highest place. But we don't know, most of you who are sitting here at this time have done a lot of work in the past. You are already prepared. Some of you may think we are newcomers to this. No, you couldn't be newcomers. You have to have some background in the past to be able to come here and to say, now we want to proceed from here.